Peace, soul stars. It's your sister from a distant star, Taboo Mahogany, coming at you one more again with another video. Y'all know how I do. In today's video, we're going to talk about 5 methods of self-care that are often overlooked. I know self-care is a really big buzzword right now, and you can follow the hashtag, and you'll see a lot of bubble baths and trips to the spa, petties and manis and shopping and vacations, and all that is wonderful. Even taking the time to read books and develop yourself that way, awesome. I just want to give some methods that are somewhat overlooked or maybe not even be considered in a category that are actually very paramount to personal development and progress. So I'm going to go step by step. Step 1, get very clear about who you are. Because all the bubble baths in the world, all the trips that you can take are not going to help to define you. That is something that is a starting point that is so important, because then when you're doing all the other practices of self-care, you're doing them for the right person, the true you, not the manufactured you, not the programmed you, but the you at the core of your being, the you who's driving you. And so I would just ask myself, and I'm looking at my notes also because I took the time to write some notes for you all because I want to be clear and concise. But I would just ask myself, what do I love? What are my basic characteristics? Without a title, not mother, father, sister, brother, wife, husband, doctor, teacher, nurse, none of those things. I mean, not what being defined by a role that you play for someone. I mean, who are you when the lights are out? Who are you when you're all alone and no one is watching? Who are you past any thought or memory or definition of you or label that's been given to you? You get to define that. So when you ask yourself the question, who am I? If you're coming up with, or you can make a list, and if you're coming up with some things on that list that you feel like or you're not comfortable with in terms of how you are defined, you get to redefine yourself. But you can't do that if you don't get very clear with who you are right now. Who are you? And who do you choose to be? Step 2, or point 2, get very clear about why you are here. What is your purpose for being? Your raison d'etre. Why am I on this earth? A good way to get to that is asking yourself, number 1, you can go straight to your passions. What do I love? A lot of people, when I ask that question, they say they don't have a passion. And I beg to differ. Because one good way to tell what your passions are, look at your Google search. Look back at the things that you Google, the things that you spend the most time looking at or reading. Think about your favorite pastimes or just your favorite things. What makes you smile? What would make you get out the bed every morning and that you could do for hours for free? That's where you'll find your passion. And very oftentimes you can get very clear about your purpose based on what you're passionate about. Our passion is a marker that was given to us as a gift to be able to help us figure out why we are on this earth and what we are supposed to be doing with our time here. So even if your passion, let's say you're passionate about, like, you can't think of anything you like, but you know you like hot peppers, right? You can't think of anything else. If you love some hot peppers, then maybe Your passion, one of your purposes on this earth is to bring joy to people. And those people could be other people who love hot peppers, right? Maybe you'll come up with an award-winning chili recipe that people get a lot of enjoyment from. And maybe from that award-winning chili recipe, you will amass a sum of money that can help you help the people that you love and help sow into other people's passions and dreams as well while you are fulfilling yours. You could start a vlog about all the hot peppers. You could travel the world about and taste all the hottest peppers in the world. You get my point. Everything it's when you don't compare your passion to someone else's, there's no scale of importance. Whatever you are passionate about matters. Your passion matters. You matter. And everything that you like and that you love and that you get enjoyment from and find fulfillment from is something that can benefit others on this earth. Because I believe we are all here to serve one another. We are all here as in service to humanity to some degree, some on a larger, a more mass scale, and some on a more defined, refined scale. But I believe we are all here as servants to humanity to help uplift the human race in all life on this planet. Another topic. So step 3, get very clear about and intentional about the relationships that you keep and foster. Recognize those who sharpen you and recognize those who are toxic to you. And it's going to come a time that you're going to have to make some tough choices and walk away from people who are not healthy for you. And sometimes that will be your relatives and people who you have called friends. But we already know, we all have the gift of intuition. The difference is some of us work on and practice our intuition more than others, but we all have it. And you already know who's healthy for you and who's not. So it's going to come down to when you're ready to level up and you're ready to take your life to the higher level, the next stage, you're absolutely going to have to tighten up your circle and be intentional about the people who are in your life and that are there, that are cultivating you and adding to your garden. Those are the people that you definitely have to, those are the seeds that you got to water. Those are the people that you have to pour into because you benefit. It has to be reciprocal. So be intentional about being reciprocal and being open to receive as well. As you sow good seeds, expect that you're going to reap. But if you get honest about the people who do not add to your garden, you're going to have to pluck some weeds. You have to walk away from some relationships that are no longer serving you or that have never served you. And be okay with that, even if that means being alone for a while to get with yourself and to learn yourself and to develop yourself. But how about this? If while you're checking for toxic people in your life and you come to a point that you realize that you are the toxic person, be honest with yourself and be willing to accept that there are places in little plateaus inside of you that need some work. And so maybe you should remove yourself from others so you can get yourself together so you're not the toxic person in someone else's life. And so that you're not the toxic person in your life, so you're not pulling down your own development and you're stunting your own growth. So that's point number 3, and I'm gonna leave it at that, because what I'm going to do with these points is I'm going to have separate videos for each one, so you will be able to dig deeper with each point. So if I say anything that resonates with you on any of these points or methods to self-care, then know that there will be another video coming so we can dive a little deeper. So if there's a point that sticks out to you, leave me a comment, ask me a question, or you can give me a story or an example of your own personal experiences. You can message me on here on YouTube, or you can just leave something in the comments. And those are some things that I'll take into consideration as I dive a little deeper in the other videos that I'm going to do based on these 5 points. Okay. So point number 4, positive self-talk. I can't stress enough how important it is to practice positive self-talk. And no, I am not talking about just doing affirmations, which are great. I love affirmations and I love affirmations. But there comes a point as you grow and you develop and you make the choice to level up and to rise to your greatest self, your greatest version of you, that affirmations alone are not going to cut it. Just saying I am. If you're still finding that you have intrusive thoughts, that's what I'm talking about. Getting to the place where you recognize those old tapes that play unwelcomed, unassisted, and you'll notice thoughts, those negative thoughts about yourself that come to your mind. And it's usually at a point of stress or when something goes wrong or when you feel rejected. It's usually when something is a reminder of a past trauma that you will find those intrusive thoughts. And so that's what I'm addressing right now when I say positive self-talk, because those little intrusive thoughts are also little weeds that get to pop up and disturb your garden also. And so those are the times where you want to, instead of ignoring those, or instead of letting yourself catch on to the thought and get carried away with the thought, in agreement with the thought, pay close attention to the background noise in your mind. Like if you make a mistake and you may, even if you don't say it out loud, if you'll hear, oh, I'm so stupid, or I'm so cross, cancel, delete. Listen to that noise and talk back. Cross, cancel, delete. I ain't even got to argue with the foolishness going on in my mind, because we get to observe ourselves. Our minds are crazy. You know, the ego runs amok. So we get to recognize, be the observer of what's happening in your mind, because you are spirit. You are your higher self, your true self. If you start to practice this, you'll be able to you will be able to recognize what is going on in your mind. That's how you know you are not your mind. You are the master of your mind. Your true self, your spirit is the master. You get to master your mind. Your mind gets confused. Our minds get confused. Our minds have been programmed and trained to be in control. So we have to just disrupt the patterns and create new ones. And how we do that? By being intentional. When I hear a crazy little thought, I check it. I take a little second to pause and I cross, cancel, and delete that. That means, no, I am highly intelligent. You can ask yourself, this is where you can practice your affirmations. Why am I so smart? I'm smart enough to fix this silly mistake. It's just a mistake. If you found that, I'm using that for that example of when people call themselves like, oh, I'm so stupid. That example I just used. No, I'm so smart. I'm smart enough to fix this. Can you feel me? But I mean that with anything. No, oh God, no one loves me. I'm so lovable. And then do things to prove to yourself that you are absolutely lovable. Smile more. Take a moment when you feel unlovable or when you feel worthy of rejection to tell yourself all the reasons why that you can think of in that moment. Give yourself at least 5 reasons why you're completely lovable, whether it's your beautiful skin, whether it's how good you fry chicken, I don't know, how good you can braid, I don't know, whatever comes to your mind, but you replace those negative thoughts with positive ones, and that is one awesome way to help practice positive thoughts, which is paramount to self-care. That's the utmost to self-care, taking time to care for your innermost being. So now we're at point 5. Point 5, and this is my last one. Self-discipline. Self-discipline is self-care. Because when you love yourself, you do discipline yourself. So that means doing things, and even if you have to create a ritual or a schedule, but put yourself on a schedule. At least have morning practice, things that you do every day, and night and bedtime practices, things that you can count on yourself to do. So the things that are important to you, the things that you say you don't have enough time for, less reading, meditating, praying, working out, whatever it is that's important to you, that you're taking your time with yourself. Discipline, get on the practice of disciplining yourself, of making yourself do what your mind tells you you don't feel like doing. Because yes, you do. You know you need to. That's why you're even thinking about it. So just do it. And when you find the day that you don't, then don't go back to step 4 and start the negative self-talk. Just do something different. Change the pattern. That's it. Replace the old pattern with a new behavior. That's the only way you get to disrupt the patterns. So that's my last point, self-discipline. Teach yourself that you can trust yourself. This is something that I've definitely practiced in my journey to self. I do things to teach myself that I can trust myself. And every time I actually do what I say I'm going to do, I gain more confidence in myself as I discipline myself to keep my promises to myself. That's the utmost in self-care. Because I can't even get to a vacation or a bath or anything. A part of my self-discipline, a part of the fact, that thing that gets me to even being able to do things like go to the spa or take special baths and do all those things is self-discipline. It's putting something on the schedule that's just for me and making sure that I keep my word to myself, no matter what, to do the things I say I'm going to do for me. So those are my points. Like I said, these are just an overview. I do want to dig deeper with all of them, but those are the takeaways. So 1, get very clear about who you are. 2, get very clear about why you are here. 3, be intentional about the relationships that you keep and foster. 4, practice positive self-talk. And 5, practice self-discipline. Those are my 5 methods of self-care that are often overlooked. I'm so thankful that you took this time to watch this video, and I hope that you gained something from it today. I am here to inspire, and I want to remind you all that we all have the power to create happy. I'm your sister from a distant star, Taboo Mahogany, and I love to love you.